guys.
So a question we thought of was, why do we make art? Art tells a story for the artist. It expresses their feelings, the way they know their emotions. It's basically everywhere. You cannot go anywhere without seeing art. It represents you. Basically, it decides who you are. It's art is a power. Takes what you have inside and like you basically release it, so it's like a stress reliever. Another question we had was, how does art make a difference in the world? Architects use it. Nature is art. The streets are art. You just can't basically see a building without having either graffiti. There's the murals. It takes out anger, and we feel like graffiti shouldn't be against the law because it does express one another, and that's about it.
Okay. Some really good points of consensus. I think people like that. You got a little applause there. So you guys sound like you came up with some really great points of consensus that you agree on. What were some of the debates about? Can anybody describe what were you arguing about in some of these issues?
We had one where it was like, how do you recognize art outside? So like how one of the points we said that the streets are art, well how can someone like recognize it? That's when they came with the graffiti.
Okay, so you guys were arguing about like basically what is art? If you're out on the streets, is it graffiti or is it art? Does it count? That was kind of your discussion.
That's why we kind of said that we want graffiti not to be crime, because I mean someone else can look at it as crime while someone else can look at it as art. So
Okay, illegal art. So it doesn't have to be, your consensus sounds like that it's still art whether it's legal or not. It's still art, okay. So I'm going to open that debate up to the class now. Respond to their points about, they were specifically asking each other and challenging each other about the concept of what is art, particularly in the streets, dealing with graffiti. So what do you guys have to say about that?
it's destructive.
It looks nice.
Go ahead. Go for it, Veronica. Tell us.
Very bad for the community to be throwing gang language on walls.
If you're not good at graffiti, then you might as well just keep it in the can because like you suck. And then if you're representing that name, you should be embarrassed that you're walking around with it with that nasty little stringy thing on the wall. It looks nasty. You know?
Okay, so we've got
Yeah, you know.
2 points here. One is about quality. Your issue is
If it's ugly, just keep it inside the can.
okay.
Shouldn't like it.
And then I would ask then how do we judge what is ugly or beautiful graffiti? Who gets to judge that? How do we make that criteria? Do you have criteria about what is ugly and beautiful off the top of your head?
If it seems like fully thought out, you know, it could be like a bloody something, I don't know, or it could be a butterfly, which are really basic, but I mean they could still be both beautiful.
No
It just depends which one has. It seems like it took a lot more time or something, you know, or meaning.
Okay, so it sounds like your criteria is based on effort, time put into it, meaning, depth of thought, if you mentioned if it was thoughtful.
Yeah,
Okay.
no gangs,
Hey, Betty.
no supporting of violence.
Okay, so, and also maybe the subject matter, and then you said no gangs, which Veronica is going to come back to your point. So you're saying that there's a difference between gang graffiti and what was determined as art graffiti. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to even open this up to everybody here, but I'll start with Veronica. What is your criteria for the difference between gang graffiti and art graffiti? How are you drawing that line?
Gang graffiti is like the difference of art graffiti. But no, I worked with this group that they did like fast painting murals, and they would tag something, but it would have meaning to it, like peace or like awareness of stuff. So that's like better than those little lines.
So you're saying your criteria is based on the subject matter, okay?
I can add on because it's like with gang graffiti, it's like you're marking up your territory and that's stupid. It's like the government owns you, basically. So I don't see what's the point of going around trying to throw gang affiliated signs and stuff like that. And I don't know about tag names. I don't know how I would feel about that.
Okay, so maybe that's an issue. We're talking about issues to come back to. That might be a good issue to come back to.
I
Tagging.
understand like art graffiti where something's meaningful, but I don't know about like a name. That's also sort of like marking up territory. That's not your.
And then, but sometimes it's like it could be okay whenever they decorate.
Like the
it.
quality of the name is very nice, but maybe you should do something. You have more.
You have a lot of talent. You could do really
You
good.
have more potential than that than just writing your name everywhere. You know.
Okay. So now that's actually another issue that was brought up, and I'm going to open up. I'm going to start with the first one. I want to open up to the class. If anybody here has an opinion in terms of what is your criteria, in terms of what is the difference between gang graffiti and what so far many in this class have termed art graffiti. Does anybody here, this group or anyone, have any criteria for how do you tell the difference? Yes.
Like they were saying, you could tell by the difference by the effort that they're doing. Also, because like what we mean by like graffiti in our in our debate is like how people were expressing like how Veronica said about peace and everything like that. We didn't like mean about gang. Like people use it as a disadvantage, and that's why it's against the law because the police and everybody thinks it's bad because everybody uses something for bad, and there's people who use it for good. And sometimes we can't tell the difference because they just don't know what's going on.
Okay, so it sounds then again like your consensus here. I'm hearing agreement that the subject matter, that gang graffiti is determined by gangs trying to further their violence and their illegal activities and marking their territory, but you're saying art graffiti is about subject matter that betters society. That's what I'm hearing. Is there anybody who disagrees with that and feels like gang graffiti can be art? Ooh, my